Hey everyone, in today's video I'll be going over a Skyrim, the Dragonborn themed build.
He's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
This is more of a fun build than an overpowering setup, but don't you worry, you'll still be able to clear the game with ease. Just take a look at the damage I'm able to pump out. So don't forget to subscribe for more weekly content, cuz if you don't. If you find this video enjoyable, I have tons of other build related videos on my channel if you want to check those out afterwards. Well, saying all of that, let's dive into the build, starting off with the dragon spells. The first one being EKZYKES'S Decay. You conjure up a dragon's head that spews rot from its mouth. It's really good in terms of damage, also placing the status effect rot on an enemy, which eats away at their health over time. This is definitely the spell you want to use first on a boss to maximize your damage during the duration of the fight. And because dragon spells cost so much mana, using the primal glintstone blade is going to reduce the cost of these breath attacks by 25%. So we can use the full cast length of these spells to their fullest potential. The second dragon spell you want to follow up with is the BOREALIS'S Mist. Does the exact same thing, but this one shoots frost out of its mouth to place a freeze effect instead. What's really nice about this is not only does it do good damage as well, but the freeze effect it places on enemies takes a chunk of their health away and makes them take 20% increased damage for 30 seconds. So you and your teammates are really going to fuck up whoever you are fighting. Another talisman that's going to help out with our damage all around, not just for the dragon spells but our physical damage as well. The Ritual Sword Talisman. This gives us an extra 10% damage increase when we're at full health. It's really handy, cuz we're going to be using these dragon breath spells from a distance, away from the fight. Now for the last dragon spell. SMARAG'S Glintstone Breath. This is the one we're going to use last after the other two, just because this is going to hit the hardest afterwards. Again, same thing as the others. Except this doesn't place any status effect on enemies, but instead we can boost its damage to be even more powerful than the others, cuz it does magic damage which is easily buffable. One way we can buff it is with the Magic Scorpion Charm. This is going to increase all magic damage by an extra 12%, which is what that dragon spell spews out of its mouth. Another way would be to use the spell Golden Vow to give us another 15% damage increase and 10% damage negation for 80 seconds. Just so we can beef up before we enter a boss fight. To cast all of these dragon breaths and spells, we're going to need a sacred seal for that, and the best one we can use is the Dragon Communion. It's going to increase our dragon attacks by an extra 15%. It's not needed, but definitely preferred if you can get your hands on it. And this buff can stack on top of itself if you have a second one in your other hand as well, for a total of 30% increased damage. Now the next thing we can go over are the Skyrim weapons. What I found to be the most effective weapon and closest looking to the ones in Skyrim is the broadsword. We're also going to use the sacred variation on it for the most damage possible, since this is a faith-focused build. And for its Ash of War, we can go with Sacred Blade to give us a quick medium-ranged attack that buffs our weapon as well. So afterwards, we can dish out even more damage at close range. Now the sword by itself isn't too great, so it's best to pair it with either a shield for more protection or another straight sword for more damage. I personally have both of those equipped cuz I found that the shield is better for safe play, keeping your health full until you get to the boss room. Or you can take the riskier approach, dual-wielding swords for more damage to take enemies out quicker. It works really well for if you run out of mana during a boss fight. This will be a better choice than the shield for sure to cut down bosses much faster. A really good option for the shield would be the Banished Knight's medium shield. It's got the highest guard boost of 68 for the medium shield category, so your guard won't get broken in 1 or 2 attacks. In addition, it has 100% physical damage reduction, so when you do block an attack, there won't be any damage taken at all. For the second sword, anyone will do just fine. Personally, I'm going with a second broadsword for its effectiveness and overall look. No straight sword is going to really stand out amongst the rest, and you'll also want to use the sacred variation again for the most damage possible. Now let's dive into the armor we can use. The only special features about the armor I'm using is its nice and clean look, really making you look like the chosen dragonborn, its good defense stats, and enough poise to where you can brush off a light attack and keep going. That being the RADAHN's lion armor set. I'm only going with the chest and down because we only need 50 poise to brush off a light attack, and this gives us 51, so we just barely pass the threshold. Also, it just looks much better without the helmet. Cause this is some heavy armor, we can throw on the Great Jar's Arsenal Talisman to increase our max equip load by 19%. So now we can place those stat points that we save from this somewhere else more needed. Another thing that's going to help this build out a lot when it comes to boss fights are summoning a companion or friend to help you. And when I say help you, I really mean be a distraction for the boss, so you can use all of your dragon spells to blast that fucker into oblivion. The best one for this is definitely the Mimic, not just because it's a strong summoning, but it can also cast dragon spells as well if the boss ends up turning around to aggro onto you. Or any summoning that has really good survivability, even if it does little to no damage, it's a good choice. Before I go over the minimum stats required, let's take a look at the best tiers we can use for the Flask of Wondrous Physic. Them being the Magic-Shrouding tier to increase the Magic Dragon Breath attack by an extra 20%, which will be very nice. And the Cerulean Hidden tier, that's going to give us infinite mana for 15 seconds. What I like to do is pop this right before I use my first dragon spell, so we can save some mana. We can usually get off about 2 dragon breaths before it wears off, which is going to help out a lot with the whole mana consumption. Now for the minimum stats required, you'll need at least 14 strength, 10 dexterity, 25 faith, and 15 arcane. Afterwards I'd recommend putting majority of your stats into faith to increase your weapons and spells damage. Also putting about 19 points into mind will allow you to just use a full dragon spell before you need more mana, just a perfect amount. I'm also going to put links in the description down below for all the gear I'm using if you want more information on them and where you can find them all for yourselves. Well, that's everything for today's video. I'd also like to give a big thanks to the members of my channel for supporting me on my videos and the future ones to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.